if your equipment's 10, 15 years old, there's things that can be, I'm going to use the word tweaked, but I mean they can be, you know, make sure the equipment's balanced properly to where the best efficiencies are achieved. Yes.
How often does a heat pump system need maintained?
A heat pump is relatively just like your heating and your gas furnace, about once a year. Some service professionals will say 2 years, depending on how the unit's maintained and the age of it. But I'd say probably once every 1 to 2 years, just to make sure that, again, make sure that refrigerant charge is correct in the heat pump systems and that the efficiencies are being met. And also check the age of your appliances. This is a pretty simple thing. Appliances that are 15 years old may need to be considered for replacement. Even though that equipment doesn't sound like it's very old, if you look at refrigerators that are on the market today versus units that are 15 years old, you can look at anywhere from $80 to maybe $100 a year in savings. So something to consider even if you have those old appliances in the home. Our residential programs that we offer through the utility is a Good Sense program. The Good Sense program is a program where if the customer will improve the insulation in the house, weatherization, the heating and cooling, Waverly Power will assist the customers through this process, and if they achieve all those guidelines that when we come out and do the audit and checkoffs that they have to abide by, the customer can receive a 10% discount for 10 years off their electric bill. And it really is an incentive there for the customers to do the right thing and go, you know, look at their entire structure in their home or the house itself to make sure the things are at and where they need to be. We also offer air conditioner rebates, air-to-air heat pump rebates, geothermal heat pump rebates. Those are all cash incentives that we're paid if the equipment is sized properly and meets proper SEER efficiencies. Appliance rebates is something that we still stand behind pretty strongly at our utility. Refrigerators receive a simple cash rebate of $75, and clothes washers exceeding a modified energy factor of 1.84 receive a $150 rebate. All of our rebates are paid in the form of what we call chamber dollars or Waverly dollars in our community. It's money that can be, basically, it's still a check the customer receives, but that money stays in the community and can be used at any merchant. It's just one other way that our utility supports our community merchants. So. And last but not least, on the side of household energy efficiency is tree planting. Waverly Power has been a strong supporter of Trees Forever for about the last 17 years. Annually, we contribute right around $10,000 to $15,000 to this local program. It's actually a state program, but to the local chapter, Trees Forever. And to date, we've contributed over $200,000 to the Trees Forever program. We work in conjunction with the local, or with the high school, with their science club, to where Trees Forever will buy the trees and do a tree planting every spring in our community. And overall, trees are a really good thing in terms of not only the environment, but the energy savings they can produce. Properly placed and selected trees can save at least 25% on your heating and cooling dollars. I'll speak real briefly on the House of Green. This is a project that we thought we would do, or that we did, out of consideration of everything that we've preached about energy efficiency over the years. Waverly Power finally felt that it was important to maybe showcase all those programs under one project that Waverly Power designed and developed, and this was the House of Green. The House of Green really wanted to encompass green building techniques and energy efficiency. Proper weatherization was used as an education tool not only for our customers but also for contractors. I don't know, it got quite a bit of publicity here. It's been about 2 years now, and really the benefit what Waverly Power was getting after, wanted to get out of it was the energy savings and operation costs that a household might incur. So if you can see there in the bottom left-hand corner, there's 3 meters that are on the house. And that's checking or monitoring 3 different separate systems in the home. That's the plug load, the heating and air conditioning, and water heating. And we actually have had the opportunity now to have almost a full year of operation calculations on that project. Where it really came about was to be able to showcase homes that an affordable, energy efficient, comfortable home can be built, and not to build your little miniature White House or McMansions, like we like to call them, and be able to show that you can actually do that and have a nice home. Today's average house is right around 2,400 square feet. Back in the 1970s, or 10 years ago, it was 2,100 square feet. Does anybody care to guess what the square footage was back in the 1970s? You're pretty close, about half. It's actually a little more when I found the statistic. It was actually up from 1,600 square feet. We're still seeing homes built, even in light of higher energy costs upon us. I just saw a blueprint here that came across my desk about a month ago. The house is about 9,500 square feet. So big homes are still being built, and we're working with that customer right now to maybe try to save some energy dollars for him, but we'll see what happens with that one. Back to the House of Green, I won't go through all these individually, but the key components of it were dimensional sizes. That was obviously cutting down on the waste of the building material. We got a PowerPoint that jumped ahead on me. Using steel shingles in the house, advanced roofing, radiant barrier, fiber cement siding, natural flooring products, low VOC products, that's in the paints, the carpets, things of that nature, energy efficient lighting, LED lighting. These were all showcased in that project. I saw many of you maybe grabbed a brochure on the way in. There's a DVD and a brochure on the back on your way out. You can grab it and it'll actually go into more detail on that. The DVD set up fairly nice. It's right around 10 minutes long, so you don't get bored to tears with the guy talking. And it's not me on it anyway. It's a gentleman that the firm that we hired to put the project together did a real nice job on getting an actor for us to kind of talk about those highlights of the project. The energy use to date in the House of Green, this is becoming more of a common question. This is what Waverly Power is really after, was that data. And right now we're looking at roughly anywhere from 1,800 kilowatt hours a month on average total, and with average monthly utility bills right around $136. Our goal of the project was to build a house that was going to be below operating cost of what an average built home in Waverly would have been. Roughly that's about 40% less in operating costs than what we normally see in a house this size. So right now everything's kind of working the way it should have with that project in terms of energy use. We're moving into what's a little bit more of I don't want to say aggressive, but a new philosophy that's kind of starting to evolve in the utility industry, and it's called inverted rates. The inverted rate that Waverly Power designed in 2007 was meant to send an energy efficient price signal to our customers to encourage energy efficiency, to allow customers to be in the driver's seat. They're the ones that are controlling their energy bill. They're the ones that make those decisions when they're buying energy efficient appliances, their new heating and cooling equipment, things of that nature. Point back to the utility was to try to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by having those customers make those right energy efficient decisions. We also felt that it was important that customers that were doing the right thing, that were building energy efficient homes, that were buying energy efficient appliances, maybe shouldn't be treated the same as a customer that is building a 9,500 square foot house. Obviously their plug loads and their usages are going to be a little bit more. By no means this rate was ever designed to punish somebody for making those decisions. That's not what it's for. However, our cost in the months of June through September, which in the next slide we'll discuss, do go up, and those costs do need to be passed on to the customer. And we're starting to see more utilities get on the bandwagon with the inverted rate. Historically, utilities used to pay on a declining block rate, where it means the more energy used, the less your rate was. Well, the inverted rate is just the opposite. The more energy used, the higher your rate will go. And that's just broken down here in the slide here. In the months of June through September, everyone's basic rate for the first 600 kilowatt hours is 8.5 cents, and it goes up from there to 17 cents a kilowatt hour. It's roughly our average consumer in Waverly uses between 800 and 1,200 kilowatt hours, and this graph kind of outlines that breakdown of how our residential customers are affected. The majority of the customers, the 73% of them, are in that 0 to 1,100, 1,000 kilowatt hour range. The remaining amount are actually in that third and fourth tier. That third and fourth tier isn't necessarily large homes. It can be homes that maybe just have an abundance of plug loads. We see a lot of homes with 3 or 4 computers in them now, 3 or 4 or 5 TVs in them. It's just the more load is being put on the system. So not necessarily these are all large houses. Some of these customers actually run a business out of their house, and that has an effect on their utility rates or their utility bills. And here again, it was mostly to send that pricing that says, well, you know, things are starting to increase in the energy markets, and those costs need to be fairly passed on to our customers. So 1 year after the program was put into place, we've collected that data. And the interesting thing on the rate is 2% of our customers moved into the 2 lower block tiers, which means they moved from that 3rd and 4th tier down into the 1st and 2nd tier. This is fairly significant. Our customers overall decreased their energy use by 1%, and 4% of the customers, 4% of the 2nd tier customers had the largest shift in energy patterns by reducing the amount of energy, and they moved into the 1st tier rating. So, and the 4th tier basically saw the largest shift to customers. We had 28 customers actually move out of that 4th tier class down into the 2nd tier class. And it just goes to show that customers became more aware of their energy bills and how those energy costs do get passed on to them, and things are starting to change in the markets. We did a lot of energy audits last year, and this program, of course, we had our fair amount of people that called and weren't real thrilled about it, but it wasn't a large amount. I mean, we're talking probably in the neighborhood of around 20 customers out of close to 4,000 in the residential class. Those customers, you know, have a lot of tools at their disposal. They have the energy efficiency programs that we offer, anything from appliances to the Good Sense program. So we're really just setting our customers out there and not giving them tools to be able to take advantage of to lower their rates or lower their bills. The inverted rate, like I said, is fairly new. It's something that's kind of new to the Midwest. It's starting to pop up in the other markets, but it's just one other thing that we're going to start seeing shift in the utility business, and just have to kind of work with programs that our utilities offer. This is a picture of a customer's garage. This is coming to the end of my speech here today, but it's a good example of the inverted rate and how a customer kind of awakened to the importance of his utility bills. This customer called. He was averaging right around 4,000 kilowatt hours a month in usage. So the test of the day is how many freezers and refrigerators does this customer have in his garage? I'll let you count them for a minute. So. Do you have any good guesses out there yet? 10? You are the first guy ever to get that in one of my presentations. However, there's a little more to the story. There are 10 refrigerators and freezers in the garage. That doesn't account for the other 5 in the house, though. So there was 5 more in the house. So we had a total of 15 appliances, just refrigerators and freezers in the home. This gentleman lived by himself, and very nice gentleman. And like I said, the inverted rate, this was last summer. With the inverted rate, he just became more aware of his utility bill. You know, prior years, he was using 3,000 to 4,000 kilowatt hours a month in the summertime. Well, with that inverted rate, that jumped him well over that 4th tier, that 17 cents a kilowatt hour. Well, his bills can, as you can imagine, pretty much skyrocketed. So, very nice gentleman to work with. Wasn't really aware that, you know, just even one freezer was costing him, or what the operation cost was costing him on a monthly basis. So we went through, hooked up kilowatt meters, and really kind of helped him to understand his utility bill. And he made a life decision change. He opted to have a couple of his buddies come over with the tractor a couple weeks after we got done going through his house and auditing the home for him, and hauled them all off to the landfill, and he's down to 1 now, and he's a much happier customer with his utility bill now. So one of the questions I always get was, well, were they full of food? Well, yeah, they were full of food. So which is, I guess, a good thing, better than opening them and having them being empty. So, you know, and plugged in. But you know, it was. I think he was the type of customer that was from the era of where, you know, he came through the Depression and things like that, to where they just kept a lot of stock around, so